Today's webinar on uploading and updating equipment is going to cover how to create both individually and in bulk different equipment items, as well as maintenance schedules, maintenance record. So be able to have that all-encompassing equipment capability. So before we dive in any further, I wanted to go over some best practices that we have got feedback from users on and have learned over the years. So one thing that we do recommend is that the organization administrator assigns the equipment manager to a member of their organization that's going to be primarily responsible for maintaining the equipment items and the maintenance. The equipment manager can then utilize the bulk import feature for the upload of equipment items and the maintenance records. And this individual should also be responsible, again, for keeping track of the maintenance records. They're going to receive a weekly equipment maintenance report that I'll go into a bit more later, where they can actually see what equipment items have maintenance coming due. So why should you necessarily upload and keep your equipment updated in CBRNResponder? There's many different reasons, but the first being it's a free database that you're able to keep track of your equipment, maintenance schedules, availability. So just having a singular place to control all of that. It also helps to ensure data quality when measurements are associated with radiological or chemical equipment. You can also assign your equipment to different field teams or individual responders, which can really save time in a response. And as I just mentioned, this really helps out your data collectors, so they're able to pare down the equipment list, and from there it'll filter down the units as well as radiation type to sort of remove that chance of human error that we all make at times. So to actually utilize the equipment capabilities, you do need to put your inventory in CBRNResponder, and then you can associate it with your collected data. So this is a process that typically we recommend setting up with your organization ahead of time, so left of boom, that way you're not in there setting up your equipment in the middle of the response. While it is important to have your equipment in CBRNResponder to associate with data, it is just as important to ensure your equipment is up to date with the maintenance as well. So you can see here in this screenshot, I'm seeing some maintenance that is listed as overdue. So I probably wouldn't want my responders to be utilizing this equipment when they're in the field. So in order, again, to do any of this and bring it back full circle, you do need to have at least the equipment manager role at the organization level to complete any of the tasks that we'll be going over today. So specific to the equipment manager, we recommend that you enter in your surface areas and or the default or new glide efficiencies. So what this essentially does and why it's important is that you're able to then view the equipment, the meters and probes and the associated surface areas and efficiency associated with that equipment item. So you can see that here, this alpha measurement, I can see the surface area and efficiencies that were added for my equipment item. And then this allows for standardized values to be calculated for your data points. Switching gears a bit to the radiological simulation feature, if you're familiar with that, you can utilize the mobile application, and we do have default simulation equipment for you to utilize. However, most organizations, they want to be able to use their own equipment. That way they can actually simulate how they would utilize it in a response. So if you want to utilize your own equipment with the simulation feature, you will need to have the surface area established, and then here you can see from the application I can do CPM or DPM with surface area. So if you don't have the surface area entered, it's just going to default to standard CPM or DPM and not give you those surface area calculated units. So that was a very high level of the equipment sort of best practices, and what I'm going to go into now is actually creating your equipment, getting it uploaded, and managing it. So there are a number of different ways that you can put your equipment into CBRNResponder. The first is enter records individually. You can copy from an existing piece of equipment. You can utilize pre-existing templates for common pieces of equipment. And then we do have a bulk upload that you're able to use. So to use any of these methods, you're going to first open the equipment page on the left-hand side navigation menu. And you'll see an equipment drop-down, and you'll want to select just the first option, equipment. So here's where you'll see your equipment repository that your organization has. So I can see all of my equipment items that are existing and that my organization owns. The bulk import is typically the most utilized method of getting your equipment in the system, as it's the most efficient and allows you to create many records at a single time. So you're not hand jamming 200 records, you can just put them all in the import. So you'll see an import button. Again, if you have the appropriate roles, choose which type of equipment you're going to be uploading, so either chemical or radiological. And you should see two files that you can download. So the first is typically used for if you're looking to import new equipment items. So that's going to be the download radiological template file with instructions. That's going to return a blank template for you. The second option is if you're looking to update, edit, and or import equipment items. So this is going to download your organization's radiological equipment. So that organization equipment import that I mentioned that displays all of your equipment items for you. What you can actually do if you're looking to update or edit one of these records is you can copy and paste it directly into the blank template file. That way, again, you're not having to manually type in all of those informations. You can find the records that you're looking to update and copy them into the blank spreadsheet. In the templates, you can enter any of the following information about the equipment. So the equipment tab is going to be actually where you create or edit the equipment items. So that's going to include the serial number, model number, the property number, description, those very specific requirements of what an equipment item needs to be created. You'll also see tabs for maintenance schedules. So if you want to associate a maintenance schedule with your equipment item, you'll see two tabs for meter probe assignments and meter probe unit assignments. And then nuclide and default efficiencies, you'll see tabs for both of those as well. So I'm not going to go into each of the individual tabs and sheets, but essentially all of the entries are going to be tied to the equipment serial number. So it's very important that you do enter this correctly and make sure that it is the correct serial number. Another column that you're going to see on each of these sheets is the upload type. So this is very important to indicate if it's a new record, an updated record, or one that needs to be removed. So if you are creating a new equipment item, you can either enter new in upload type, or you are able to leave it blank and it's insinuated that it is a new item. If you are going to update the equipment item, so if I need to update the surface area or add a meter probe unit assignment, I would put update in the upload type column, and that will let the system know that this serial number and this associated item already exists for my organization, and I'm looking to update the fields that I have entered. And then on the other side of that, if you're looking to remove equipment items, so let's say you got 20 new meters to replace 20 previous ones and you just want to remove those ones from the system, you can put remove in the upload type column and again associate it with the correct serial number, and it will remove it from your organization. Also on our template sheet, you may see a data dictionary and an allowed values tab. And this is standard for all of our equipment imports and honestly our imports across the whole website. So the data dictionary, you're able to view information on what fields are required and the format. So It lets you know if I'm looking on this form here, for example, the equipment model, that is a free text field, so you can enter anything you would like there. The successful column, you can either put yes or no. So it's going to give you essentially what format you can enter the data in. The allowed values tab is going to give you all of your existing equipment models, equipment serial numbers, and then the optional maintenance type or a specific field that's on that form that you may need more information on. So that's really helpful, making sure, again, your serial number, model number is matched up, because that's what the data is going to be pulled off of. So that is the bulk import. Now switching back to the website to do more of a individual, or maybe you're just uploading a few different equipment items. You can use the Create Equipment dropdown, and you should see 4 different options. The first being a Create New option. And so this is to create a new item from scratch, essentially. So you'll be able to enter all of the required fields and then enter any additional fields that you're able to. So you can assign it to a specific user that belongs to your organization. You'll be able to enter the manufacturer, model, serial number, any description. When you select the equipment type, depending on the tag you select, so on the left, I selected that it is a meter, I'll see an additional section open up. So in that equipment details section, I can enter the surface area and surface area unit, the background value, if it supports windows, supports orientation. So additional fields will pop up depending on the equipment type you're creating. On the right there, I'll see I selected a 4 gas meter. So it's going to show me different fields than it would for the plain meter that I selected on the left. Skipping down to the Create Assigned to Me button, I wanted to touch on this one next because it is very similar to the Create New. The only thing is that the Assigned To field is set to your user by default. So the user that you're logged in, it's going to automatically put that in the Assigned To field, and you're not able to change it. The other option that we have is Copy from Existing Equipment. So what this is going to do is open up a modal that allows you to search for an existing equipment item that your organization owns. So you can see that tooltip there. I have the More Info open. You can search off of the manufacturer, model, serial number, property number, and or nickname. So any of those you're able to search off of. So it's, if you only know the serial number, for example, or the model, you're able to search off of that. And so this process is pretty quick. You'll search for the equipment that already exists. It'll populate the manufacturer and model number, and then you're able to enter the serial number and or property number. So the copy from existing equipment is a great feature if you already have, for example, on the screen here, 3 Ludlum meters and you get a new one. So you can essentially just copy over the information from an existing one to really save that time with the creation process. So for all of the different methods to create an equipment item, whether it's the bulk import, the copy from existing, create new, once your equipment item is saved and has that initial creation process over, you're then able to manage or add any of the other sections on the equipment page. So this can include the units, assigned probes if it's a meter, the efficiencies. You can update the specific assignments, maintenance, things like that, add documents, user manuals on the equipment item. So all of this can be associated with your equipment items. And the Create From Template option I left for last because I wanted to go a bit more into how you can actually create templates for your organization. So you may have seen in the equipment dropdown, there is a new equipment templates page as of a few months ago. So what you'll see is all equipment templates that your organization owns. So this means that your organization has created them. What you can do is open up the filters at the top of that page and you're able to view and customize the template ownership filter. So what this can do is show the ones that are just owned by your organization or network-wide ones. The network-wide templates means that they're available for the entire CBRNResponder network for them to utilize. So over 12,000 users at this point. You are not able to create network-wide templates. It is only the CBRNResponder team. To create an equipment template for your organization, you'll use the Create Equipment dropdown, and you'll see that there are two ways. The first is Create New, so you can completely create an equipment item from scratch, essentially what we went over previously. And the other is similar to the Copy from the existing item. So if you already have a bloodletting meter created and you want to just copy the information on that to use moving forward as a template, because you know you're going to have another one or a few more coming in a few months, you can do that as well. And similar to the equipment details, you're able to manage the equipment template details as well. So this just helps with, again, the copying process when you're using the template in the future. All of your units, efficiencies, all that information is going to already be associated with that data. So now we'll bring that back full circle to the Create dropdown where you're able to select Create from Template. And on the Create page, you'll see a new field that says Templates. And if you open that up, you will see it separated into network-wide equipment templates. So again, those are the ones that everybody has access to that we created. And then you'll also see your organization-specific equipment templates. So you can search and select for the template that you would like to use. And again, those additional fields are then going to populate. So the manufacturer, model number, and the type. And then you will enter in the serial number and property number. And then that's all you need to save that item. And when you are now viewing that equipment record, you will see that the template field has the associated template. So if at any point you need to go back and revisit it, you can always view where the information was pulled from. So switching gears a bit now to equipment maintenance. It is great to have all of your equipment uploaded, but the CBRNResponder platform allows you to keep track of the maintenance as well. So making sure all of your equipment is up to date will alert you, send out notifications when equipment is coming due. Maintenance schedules can be entered to keep track of your equipment to make sure it has the most up-to-date maintenance. Maintenance records can be entered and associated with a maintenance schedule, and this helps with keeping a running history of the equipment maintenance records. And then maintenance notifications will be sent out to alert you of any equipment that is overdue or coming due on maintenance. So again, if you have the equipment manager role, you will see a equipment with maintenance coming due tile on the organization dashboard. So you'll be able to see a link to the equipment item as well as the maintenance date when it's due. So I can see the first equipment item there is due in 16 days. And this is what the report that the equipment manager is going to receive. So it'll come in a PDF via email, if that's your preference of notification. You are able to configure the frequency of this notification. So if you want it bi-weekly or monthly. So to set a maintenance schedule in for your equipment item, you're gonna first open up that specific equipment item that you're looking to add it to. And on the equipment details page, you're going to see a maintenance schedule section. So you will click the add button to be brought to the create page. On the create page, you'll need to enter a name for the maintenance schedule. So this could be annual calibration, for example. You'll also need to select a maintenance type. So we have calibration, firmware upgrade, OP check, rebuild, or replace. You'll then need to select the timed scheduled type. So if this is annual, bi-monthly, you can set a custom date. So if it's just an ad hoc date, we have a number of different schedule types. And then you'll enter the first maintenance due date and any additional comments or information that you need. Once you save the record, it's then going to be listed under the maintenance schedule section for that equipment item. So you'll be able to see the schedule listed there in the table, as well as when's the next maintenance due, when was the last maintenance. So all of that information there for you. So you can add maintenance schedules individually, but if you're going to be entering a number of different schedules for a number of different equipment items, you may want to do this in bulk. So again, we'll use that import button and you'll see the import maintenance option. And this is going to be the same Excel spreadsheet that we went over earlier. So you'll see the maintenance schedules tab, and that's what we're going to be looking at for the maintenance schedule creation. Again, this sheet is for adding or updating maintenance schedules for your organization. This is not for you updating your equipment's maintenance. So again, I just want to reiterate that this is for the schedules. It's not for the actual maintenance records. So you can navigate to the data dictionary tab for guidance on what you need to enter in that column. And to add a new maintenance schedule, there's going to be a few required fields that you'll need to include. So the first being the name. So an example here, yearly firmware. The maintenance type could be firmware upgrade. You'll enter the schedule, the first maintenance date, and then the upload type. And again, that serial number is going to be really important. That is what the different records are going to link off of. So you need to make sure that you have the serial number matched up, which you can find available in the allowed values tab. If multiple pieces of equipment should have a schedule, you can copy and paste that and just update the serial numbers. And once you have your spreadsheet complete, you will upload it back into CBRNResponder and you should see all of your records populate. So again here, if I'm opening up the equipment details of this record, I just imported a schedule for it. I'm going to now see the maintenance schedule of yearly firmware listed here, as well as the maintenance that's next to updated. So switching gears to now the actual maintenance records. You can enter these maintenance records in two different ways. So the first being adding it through the maintenance section, or if you're viewing a maintenance schedule, you can add it from that page as well. So both of the record forms are going to look very similar. On the create maintenance record page, you should see the when, who, maintenance schedule, and result entered by default. So it's going to default to the current day. It's going to default to the user that you are logged in under. It's going to default to the maintenance schedule that you have, if there is one. And then the result will be set to successful. You can adjust these based on the information, and you can add any file attachments, any certifications of maintenance to keep that record tracking. You can also import maintenance in bulk. So you'll use the import button and then download the template file with instructions. And again, this template file is going to look very similar to the other equipment ones. You'll see the data dictionary and the allowed values that lets you know what information and values you're able to enter there. You can then use the template to enter as many records as you would like. And then once imported back to the website, you'll see that updated here. So I can see the record from 12/12/2022 has been uploaded to my equipment item. I'll also see this update in the maintenance schedule section if I did associate it with my maintenance schedule. So I can see here the next maintenance due date has updated and the last maintenance date has updated as well.